We refine the flame. Truth cuts noise like a sword through stone. Turn it up, lean in, this is Universal Jones. Faith over fear when the nights get long. Grace in the room and the weak get strong. We fall, stand tall, then we pass it on. Healing ain't a solo, it's a family song. Turn it up, find your zone. Universal Jones. Heart to the hurt, light to the unknown. We heal, we learn, we grow. Be safe, be constructive, be better, let's go. Hands up, claim your home. Courage in the bones, we rise, we build, we grow. Be safe, be constructive, be better, let's go. Call in, check in, it's a lifeline live. From the grief to the grind, we reclaim our drive. Mind like a mission, goals in the sight. Reprogram the picture to the page, reads right. Head up, chin set, God at the helm. Character is currency, we rich in the realm. Love is the language, discipline the code. Community the compass when you're on that road. When the weight says quit, we refuse, we choose. If the mirror crack, let the make a fuse. Hope in the heat, peace in the pressure. Step by step, we build something better. Turn it up, find your zone. Universal Jones. Heart to the hurt, light to the unknown. We heal, we learn, we grow. Be safe, be constructive, be better, let's go. Hands up, claim your home. Universal Jones. Truth in the tone. Courage in the bones. We rise, we build, we grow. Be safe, be constructive, be better, let's go. Be safe, be constructive.
To my dad's podcast. He's awesome.
Yes, sir. Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the Be Better Network. I am your host, Universal Jones. We're back for another live stream. Yes, we are back and we're vertical. We're doing something different for tonight's conversation. I am going to be co-hosting with two gentlemen, the Urban League podcast, or the Urban Lounge podcast, excuse me, not the Urban League podcast. We talking to Urban League, we're talking to Urban Lounge podcast. And then my guy, Lionel Suggs, will be joining me here in a second. We're going to be talking about the red pill, masculinity, manhood on today's podcast. So let me start with a little bit of an opening. Then we'll bring these gentlemen up and we're going to start our conversation for tonight. So hope everybody's doing good. Thanks for tuning in. Quantum Epic is rocking with UJ yet again. Thanks for coming on back. So today we're stepping into a conversation that a lot of people feel, that a lot of people react to, that a lot of people have had, honestly, enough of, and it just sits with people, which is the red pill, which is talking about manhood and masculinity. That's what we're going to be focusing on this evening. We're going to be talking about the fact that, is the red pill dying? I've heard this over and over and over again, that the red pill is losing its steam. A lot of the top red pill, quote unquote, creators are starting to dive into other types of content, and they're moving away from this conversation. So we're going to dive into that. At the same time, if you think about it, we live in an era where dating is more transactional than ever. So if the red pill is dying, what is it doing for men today, especially in this dating market? It's no secret. If you've been following the lore of Universal, you've caught a little whiff of how I've been out here in these streets. But there are other people out here too who are also wading the waters of the dating market and understand that this is a different ball game than it might have been 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20, 25 years ago. It's a different place in this dating world. And we're going to dive into that today as well. So in this transactional dating world, what do we notice? It's more performative. It's more strategic. It's more guarded. It's more branded. It's more negotiated. It's less soulful. It's less rooted. And honestly, it can be even less human. So there are some questions that come forth when you think about this. What are men today? I hear a lot of people talking about who is manly, who isn't manly, who doesn't have enough bass in their voice, et cetera, et cetera. So what is a man? Who is a man? What does it mean to be masculine? We're going to dive into that topic tonight as well. So it's not what men pretend to be online. It's not what the algorithm rewards us. It's not what gets applause on a podcast clip or a stream. And it's definitely not what gets passed around in rage-bait spaces where everybody is performing pain, ego, and superiority of their views. It may be something more than that. and we want to dive into what does it mean to be a man. So, so you are in the right place if you're ready for this conversation. We do plan on, being honest about our experiences and telling the truth on some things. And I got some heavy hitters today that are going to share their wisdom when it comes to being a man and masculinity, and also their experiences and how they've got to where they are today. A lot of men are not standing on solid ground. They're standing on reaction to heartbreak, reaction to rejection, reaction to divorce, reaction to disrespect, reaction to social change, reaction to just women, reaction to culture, and reaction to humiliation. And if you have built your manhood on reaction, then somewhere along the way, you stopped being a man with purpose and started to become a man who is simply managing his wounds. And we see this all over these social media space. When we talk about parasocial relationships, this stuff is happening on a day-to-day basis. So that's part of the problem. The red pill for many men was never just about dating advice. It was about emotional refuge. It was a framework that gave language to disappointment. It gave structure to male resentment, and it gave some men a sense that they were finally just seeing the game clearly. But here is the problem. Clarity without healing becomes cynicism. You just start becoming, pessimistic about the outcomes of what you can have as a man. And when you have cynicism becomes a lifestyle, a man can start confusing emotional armor with wisdom. He can start calling bitterness truth. He can start calling detachment strength. And he can start calling manipulation discipline. And he can start calling despair understanding. And we see this again in so many different spaces and places. So without further ado, I'm going to stop there. We'll get into some more of these topics. I have tons of questions for these gentlemen. I'm going to bring them up. First, we're going to have from the Urban Lounge podcast, our man, Urban. How you doing tonight, Urban?
Hey, salute, brother. Salute. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. And also thank you for having my audience as well to join the conversation.
Absolutely, man. No, thank you. I mean, you're doing me a favor here. I'm a small fish, man. You in a big lake, bro. I appreciate you tonight. All right, then we're going to also bring up another gentleman, and you can stream to your channel too if you want, Mr. Lionel Suggs, man. No stranger to the channel. What's up, Lionel?
Good evening. Do I sound better?
You do sound better, man. Yes, you do sound good. Perfect. All right, man. We are here tonight to talk about more manhood and masculinity. I got some pushback from my guy, Lionel. He said, bro, you've been talking all this boy stuff, man. You need to talk about some manhood stuff. Like, you got away from the true content. I said, come on, Lionel, don't do me like that. So I had to pull out a conversation and get us going with some manhood stuff. Go ahead.
Hey, what's funny about it, Universal, is that he been saying some crazy stuff to me too. Because he's my main moderator over there at the lounge, man. Talking about you need to be talking about this other shit.
Yeah. One thing I appreciate about Lionel, and he rubs a lot of people the wrong way, is he keeps it straight, man. He's like a shot of just like the worst tequila you can have in your life, man. It's raw. It's gonna hit the spot. It's gonna get you drunk. That's Lionel. He just gonna mess you up. One shot is all it takes. A Lionel. He just gonna mess you up, man. And I appreciate him for that because he keeps people honest at the end of the day. And a lot of people don't respect that, especially online. They don't respect that level of honesty. But that's him. That's him in a nutshell. So
yeah, I agree.
Perfect. All right, man. I'm just gonna fire out some questions. You guys can ask counter questions. You can steer the conversation other directions. You can even throw out clips and things if you guys want to review stuff. But I have a series of questions for you all tonight, and we'll just go rapid fire around the horn here. And if you guys want, probably after about 45 minutes to an hour or so, we can open up a panel. If not, we can keep it closed and just keep it us. We'll just see how the night takes us. So my first question: when you hear the phrase manhood today, what comes to mind first? When you hear the phrase manhood today, what comes to mind first? Anybody can start.
Well, for me, it deals with a traditional foundation. It deals with discipline over emotions. It deals with purpose over pleasure. It deals with leadership without apology. It also deals with accountability without victimhood. And finally, it deals with strength with control, which that deals a lot with stoicism.
What do you think, Lionel?
That was a good answer. But when I hear that, I hear female manipulation.
No, crap.
That's exactly what I think of when I hear manhood today. Female manipulation.
Yo, go ahead, expound, Lionel.
Yeah. What do you mean? Why are females manipulating men? Are we that stupid and weak? Like, what's going on, man?
No, because, well, I guess it depends. But think about the bull crap y'all be hearing. You're not a real man if you don't do this. A real man would do this. Well, if you was a real man, you would do this. What does that do? That gets in dudes' heads. Now they start questioning themselves. They've already been told by all the grown men growing up that, hey, your manhood essentially is about getting vagina. But then when you start talking to the women, they start questioning everything you do. And because they're so chaotic, hypocritical, what happens then? They start telling you all this BS that unfortunately ends up going with, well, a real man would do this. Well, if you're a real man, you would do this for me, or you would act like this for me. It's female manipulation when I hear that.
So that's interesting, Lionel. Do you remember what I said the definition of a real man is?
You talk a lot, so I'm going to say no.
Shit. So the long story short, the definition of a real man, it don't have nothing to do with what women require for a real man to be. In most cases, whenever a woman is looking for a real man, they're looking for a man to do things according to their standard and their likelihood. But that is not the definition of a real man. The definition of a real man is what I stated earlier, is that it's a man of discipline. He's a man of purpose. He's a leadership. He know how to hold himself accountable, and he exhibited strength as well too.
I agree.
Where do men find that? That sounds like a tall order, especially from what I hear in these men's spaces. That's a lot to beat. Like, where do we find that those characteristics? How do we
I've
develop
been
that?
asking him that, just so you know, because when he says this stuff,
Yeah.
I ask him, dude, where are they supposed to go?
So let me explain it to you this way, gentlemen. The original framework of the red pill and manosphere, right? It was about everything that I'm telling y'all about right now. It's about philosophy. It's about building the character of a man. But unfortunately, how the way things are now, the red pill and manosphere have been infiltrated into what I call red pill rage. And simply what red pill rage is that you get a collection of men who had negative experiences dealing with the type of woman that they selected to be with or selected to procreate with, right? And so instead of them dealing with their traumatic experiences healthy, they utilize the social media to express their dissatisfaction from it, which hence is red pill rage. They go opposite of everything that I just spoken of right now. And so I believe that the answer to the question, I believe that you have to be really, really, really particular in trying to find this type of spaces, especially on social media. It starts off like anything, which is vetting out. Vet out the creator, vet out the content creator, vet out what they're talking about, vet out the type of content that they're putting out as well too. Is this content healthy for you, or is it just strictly entertainment? That's where you start at.
Go ahead, Lionel. I see you pondering over there. Go ahead. Respond.
Give me a second.
I would say a lot of men found this content. Well, from what I hear, a lot of men find this content as educational first, and then it becomes entertainment. When you are dunking on women, when you are having panels of girls who are mostly attention seeking or trying to clout up, and you're asking them questions that either they're not age appropriate or even appropriate for that woman to answer as far as where they are in their development. And it's just about shaming these girls and making them look, foolish, right? Visibly they look good, but intellectually they try to make these women look bad. And there's several different platforms that do this. And I think that is what keeps people engaged, because there's so much pain that a lot of men have when dealing with women, that they're like, okay, if these guys get to make these chicks look stupid, and these are the girls that everybody's drooling over because they look good, then I should be able to do the same thing when I come in contact with these women as well. So that's what I see. But go ahead, Lionel, you ready to respond?
I got to think of popularity. I got to be honest, because I think of The Simpsons, my favorite show, Married with Children. Everybody Loves Raymond, Home Improvement, Family Guy. What was the constant thing they kept showing? The husband and father were overgrown, incompetent children, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
That they're useless in basically everything. They just have to provide, constantly suffering, and he gets talked to like he was one of the children. This is what people were watching. You got the ratings to prove it. And so that's gonna have an effect on people eventually, because then you got the talk shows. I remember having to listen to the radio because I used to have to drive up and down the East Coast with somebody, and we used to always be on the radio. And what would I hear? Basically, men being bashed. That was essentially, this is the 90s into the 2000s. Men being bashed. Even the songs. And I know women try to counter that with certain music, but we're not going to sit here and be funny and act like men being bashed just wasn't an entire genre of different songs. These put all that together, what are you seeing? And so when I look at when the red pill really started getting hot, to me it was like, it's about time. About time y'all started saying some crap back to them. What they've been saying for the last 30, 40 years. They just been knocking y'all off y'all butt. And y'all haven't really been saying nothing back. So, and then the guys started waking up also. I do agree. Some of these guys were more empathetic, and they was resonating with other guys' stories. But the reality is, these guys were looking at the reality and saying, something's not clicking. Something's not right with how the men of the old days used to do things. So they don't like the outcomes that they're hearing or seeing. And again, a lot of guys are showcasing how empathetic they are, and they're resonating with other guys and just getting upset about it. And like, nah, we got to change. Some are saying the right things, even if they're not executing in action.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it was more like it was about time that we got to this point.
I could relate to Lionel, him referring to the 70s and the 80s, even the 90s, about the misrepresentation of men. I could agree that back then, television shows such as Married Children and other television shows as well too label men in a bad representation. These type of shows label men as being misogynistic. They label men as not being the protector and providers like they're supposed to be, right? And even if they were the protectors and providers, they made them weaker than the actual woman or women who's in the household or whatever type of show that it was representing. They also, especially in the Black community, they made where the man was absent, not only with the mother, but he was absent with the children as well too.
Yep.
So all these different factors play a critical role in what is formulate the beginning of the red pill spaces for these men. Because at the end of the day, the men, they were silent. They were suffering in silence. But we still had the brotherhood. We didn't have access to media, you know what I'm saying? And so what did we do have access to? We had access to going to barbershops.
Hmm.
We had access to, meeting each other at the bar or the lounge and having a beer, and we having these conversations. We had access to the brotherhood where we could just feed off of each other and just vent off our frustrations. Well, hopefully, we could go back and rectify the situations that we're dealing with at home. You know what I mean? But even that, it wasn't good enough for us at our period, so we needed something more, something greater that would reach us at a higher level, a higher altitude, so we could have a higher outcome. And that higher outcome was through the birth of social media, through YouTube, through IG, through modern day TikTok. You know what I'm saying? All these different avenues where we could truly express our feelings, express our grievances, and where we could just uplift each other.
Absolutely. A lot has changed over time. I'm gonna ask the next question, which is, do you believe masculinity is in crisis, or do you think it's simply changing?
Hell yeah, it's in a crisis.
Lionel says, hell yeah. Go ahead. Tell us more, Lionel. Why is it a hell yeah? What's
I mean,
happening?
this actually goes back to what Urban was saying earlier, man. There is a lot of guys who don't have a purpose. That they're traveling on the road, they stumbling around, and if they see a fork in the road, they go backwards. Like, it looks bad right now. They're not confident. And this is like, you don't have to be on social media to hear this. Literally go outside. The dudes they're not confident. Like, they don't look like they're trying to inspire other guys or people, children. You'll see one out of, 1,000 essentially trying to do this. It is not a good look when you're really going out there. Still got dudes afraid of their wives, afraid of their girlfriends, afraid of the chick they're in a situationship with. Nah, I can't talk on the phone right now. She's saying something to me. Nigga, if you don't put that phone down, like, dang. Dude over here sitting here like, oh, I gotta say certain things. No, you don't. Say what you want to say. Dude, that's your house. Oh, that's the other one. Dude's moving into their girlfriend's house. They got to cut that shit out too. It's a lot. It's just a lot of things that's going on. And yeah, it's in a crisis because ultimately it falls into they don't have a purpose. They don't have a backbone. They're not leaders, but they don't know how to be leaders either. You know, you can put them in a leadership position and they're going to fail. Me and Urban had a whole conversation about the chessboard. That's all we're doing. We're putting the chessboard in front of these guys and telling him to play like a grandmaster. They don't even know which pieces are on the board.
Nor they'll know what move to make.
They don't even know what move to make.
They
So
don't even
that's
know the
where
name of the
guys are at.
pieces.
Yeah, that's where the guys are at right now. He's funny. But that's where they're at.
Yeah, it's true though. It's true.
So
What do you
let me
think? Go for it.
let me offer a rebuttal as well too.
Yes.
I agree everything that Lionel is saying, but I also want to take it a little further than that too. Yes, we can point the finger with dealing with modern women and modern feminism, right? That's a given, but at the same time, like I stated to you earlier, a lot of the brothers, they're dealing with what is known as red pill rage right now, and they just have not transitioned out of it yet. That's the issue. And once again, like I stated earlier, this red pill rage is going against everything, that the red pill in the manosphere originally community was about, which is uplifting the brother, teaching the brother how to become a leader, teaching them how to become responsible, holding themselves accountable for choices and decisions that they have made, the type of woman that they have selected in their life. Hold themselves accountable, take that L. You chose that woman. Now deal with it, in a healthy way. But since there's red pill rage and you going into these other communities, right, that have infiltrated the red pill in the manosphere, right? These communities is doing what Lionel said that they are not doing, which is not teaching them none of these concepts whatsoever. Hell, the people there that they are looking up to, they don't even know how to play chess. They don't understand the chessboard. They don't know how to make the correct move. They don't know what the pieces are or nothing like that. When it boils down to it, it's dealing with them being, pounders and griffers. That's what it boils down to. They don't care if a person is healed. I put it to you this way, universe. It's similar to a doctor who's practicing medicine, right? But this doctor, even though he took the oath to uphold, to do his best to heal people, right? At the end of the day, he's not doing it because he done got hooked up with the pharmaceuticals. It's all about money to him. So he don't care about their outcomes as long as he's getting paid for it. And that's basically the current condition, the current outcome of dealing with these spaces right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. Lionel, you had said something about men not knowing how to be leaders. Do you guys think that it's essential that men develop leadership skills? Is it important? Do all men need to be leaders?
I'm gonna say it this way: they don't all need to be leaders, but they need to know leadership capabilities. They need to have leadership skills. Because at the end of the day, everyone's not going to essentially be their own boss, if you know what I mean. You're going to go to work and you're going to follow somebody else. But at the same time, you need to know how to be a leader when you're at work also. If it's not entitled, you need to know how to have it in skill range. You need to know how to have it in mentality.
The cats.
Yeah.
Yeah. To mess up a model kit. You can't have that. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I'll rebut and then go ahead, Urban.
Oh no, you're just gonna do a rebuttal? Go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick. It reminded me of something I learned when I was like 14, 15 years old. My first real job. I worked in a hospital cafeteria, and in the hospital, they had like their values on the wall. And I remember this one value was stewardship. And I always was like, what the hell is stewardship? And I remember I had asked my boss, a black African man at this time. And he was like, well, Brandon, because that's my name. Stewardship is acting like an owner. He said, you got a lot of skills to do this. You don't even realize it. And it's probably a reason why that stood out to you. Because you act like you own this place, even though you just washing pots and pans. And then he told me to get back to work.
Really?
and that stuck with me. I'm like, damn, okay. But I think that all men need to have stewardship in life. Even if you don't own something, you should always act like it. You should always assume responsibility to taking care of things the way they're supposed to be taken care of as best as possible. So that was going to be my rebut. Go ahead, Urban. What are your thoughts?
So that was also going to be my same rebuttal on it as well, too, because I believe that every man needs to learn leadership abilities. Now, here's the thing about this, right, gentlemen? Leadership abilities isn't just only being a leadership to other people or being a stewardship to other people, but it also is being a leader to your own self and to your own life and to your own purpose. If you are incomplacent in your life, then that means right off the bat that you lacking leadership skills in your life. Because ultimately, when you become a man, that's where it starts at, is with you. So yeah, every man needs to be a leader for real. They need that. That should be a number one requirement.
Absolutely. All right, we're gonna keep it moving with these questions. My next question is, what do you think men are most confused about right now? We hear it all over the place. But when you look at this, when you're observing this red pill dynamic, what do you think men are most confused about right now?
Oh, y'all waiting on me to respond?
Go for it. Yep. Anybody can jump in. Go for it.
So The thing that men are mainly confused about is when you're dealing with this modern day red pill concept, right? They're confused about the status of relationships. They confused about how the way they should treat a woman, especially when a woman have did things to them to put them into the space where they at right now. You know, that they're confused about what's next. I'll even say that not only they're confused, a lot of the men are actually afraid as well too. They're afraid of the outcomes. They're afraid of that if they were to get with a woman of this modern time, that it would be a bad deal for them. That ultimately it would end up with the relationship terminating. If they were to get married to that woman, it would end in divorce, and where this woman end up taking, like half of their earnings from him. He could get put on child support or on spousal support as well too, depending on your state. It's a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, that men are confused about. Men are confused about what's the whole ideal about being a man, like we stated earlier, because obviously modern women had gave us a certain standard that they want us to be a man versus understanding our standard of being a man. Just say a few things.
What are your thoughts, Lionel? What do you
They
think
confused
most
about
men are
themselves.
confused
No, they
about?
confused about themselves. That's what they're confused
Mm-hmm.
about.
Mm-hmm.
They listen to all this stuff. They listen to what they hear when they're not in front of a computer desk or their phone. They're confused about themselves. Y'all, I mean, the audience don't know me, but y'all know me. And I'm a manager at my job, and I'm constantly hiring people. And a lot of the guys, they're coming up to me and they're asking for direction. And I'm only going to show you one time. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to help you if you need help. I'm going to help you if you need help. But the reality is, I tell them all the time, I'm not here to babysit you. I need you to make moves. So once I give you all this information, I need you to make moves. I need you to come in and know what to do. I need you to start organizing. I need you to start putting stuff out. I need you to make moves. The last thing I want to do is micromanage you, babysit you, because when this clock starts, I don't want to think about you. I got my own stuff I got to do. I want you to be the leader of this area. Even though you see me, I got 2 other managers I work with. They know point blank they can't tell me what to do. The 3 managers that are higher than me, I got them scared to talk to me because I let them know point blank there's nothing you can tell me. Obviously, unless there's some information that came in an email or some bull crap. But I run it. That's the thing. And I expect the other people, technically the other people, to do the same thing. But when I see the guys, it's always, what do you need me to do? What can I do? And these are just men of all ages. And then next thing you know, they don't have a job no more. That sounds so bad. They don't have a job no more because of other things. But, they don't have a job no more. So then you take this, I can take this out of the workplace, And when I go to different areas, it's the same thing, though. It's a lot of guys who are basically plain follow the leader. They're not being the leader. Me and Urban had a conversation, and I told him that instead of saying chess, I would say Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's something I actually taught my brother and sister years ago. And he wanted me to break it down for him. And of course, when I did break it down, he was like, well, everybody don't know Yu-Gi-Oh! Like that. So chess is the metaphor he's going to use. But I had let him know the difference of the strategies were it's between tactical parity and asymmetrical information. When I'm saying, hey, utilize Yu-Gi-Oh! And even though it might sound funny, Yu-Gi-Oh! Here's the thing. Real world strategy is rarely about who can move the same pieces better. It's about who can manage the unknown, who can leverage the unique, individualized resources. Chess is literally perfect information. Both players see the board, the variables are static. It's still strategy, but chess is a test of calculation and pattern recognition, knowing that if X happens, Y must follow. It lacks the element of the unknown. It assumes a level playing field where the only advantage is mental processing power. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not that at all. You're absolutely having to leverage chaos and the unknown. If you know, and this is what I was teaching my siblings, that they need to go and operate in life. When I look at a lot of guys, we said it earlier, they've been given a chessboard full of pieces, don't know how to play the game, don't know how to move any of the pieces. Like, but we're supposed to sit there and they're going to pretend like they know what to do, unfortunately. But then once, they start making moves, they have no idea how to counter. They have no idea what to do. And that's why I said earlier, they're walking down a road, they're stumbling, they're going backwards because they don't know who they are. They have no destination. That's the biggest problem I see in these spaces.
So check this out. When me and Lionel, when we had this conversation, right, the only pushback I had with him was the whole concept when he's using about the unknown. Now, and it's true, if you're familiar with how the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is played and utilized, right, it is true that through a lot of portions of the game, the cards are flipped face down where you don't know the type of cards that your opponent have deal with until it's flipped face up. You know what I'm saying? Which that concept is true about you don't know the unknown and you're dealing with, chaos and different things like that. But however, the moment when the opponent or the opposing opponent flip the card face up for whatever reason, if they're not making a certain type of move that activates the card to behave this way, or if the player purposely flip the card up for that certain type of way, then guess what? You're right back in the same concept of dealing with chess, which is now they can literally see what's happening in real time. And guess what? They still have to react to it the same exact way how they play chess. So, with all that being said, I do agree with him on a lot of concept with dealing with that, having an analogy with Yu-Gi-Oh! Because yes, life is like that. Even when you deal with relationships could be absolutely chaotic. It can be, depending on who you're dealing with, But just like he used the concept about Yu-Gi-Oh! You could go and find a young woman, right? And she haven't flipped herself over yet. She haven't revealed herself yet. Until one day she decides to reveal herself. Then here you go. You're dealing with what you got. And so now you got to adjust yourself. You have to strategize. You have to move accordingly. But unfortunately, this is the unfortunate part, all right, gentlemen, is this. Instead of the man strategizing and moving accordingly, what end up happening is that a man automatically surrendering themselves out of love. They see obviously what they want to do. They see obviously what needs to be done, but they literally surrender their moves out of love.
Yeah, I've been there. Men sacrifice a lot of themselves to hold things together often. Yeah, absolutely.
It let the woman win. Absolutely.
Wow. We do have a question in the chat. I'm gonna grab that before I go to my question.
Real quick, Russ. Let me do this real quick.
Go for it.
Shout out to everybody who's watching tonight at the lounge. I appreciate the 110 people who are watching right now. Do me a favor as well too, y'all. While we're streaming on both channels where we're collaborating right now, if you would go to Universal Jones' channel and get him a sub. This man is a phenomenal content creator. He has some really, really good content over there. It's different from ours, absolutely, but please support this wonderful content creator.
Absolutely. It's Be Better Network. I think when I dropped that in the chat, it should go to both places. I think it did. I don't know if it went to yours, but yeah, just you can just search Universal Jones or Be Better Network. It should pop up. We do cover manhood, masculinity topics, personal development, and something called Boyd, which you probably have no idea what that is, but you'll get a nice crash course if you come on over to the channel. Definitely subscribe. I see some folks from my side of the fence here. It says, I enjoy that peace, balance, and justice. And what Coffee Brothers is talking about is my definition of healing that I came up with. And I define healing as people who it's a consistent process of efforts to create peace, balance, and justice. You hear a lot of people talking about we need to heal the community. We need to heal this. That's a destination. Healing is a journey. It's an ongoing effort. And if we're talking about manhood and masculinity, for men, healing looks very different than it does for women or for children. And a lot of times we're healing things that have happened to us when we were children, but you're seeking that peace, that balance, and justice for the most part. I did want to take this question from the chat because we did talk about sacrificing things. I think it's Nasha. I always get her name wrong, but she likes to give me a lot of pushback. It's good to see that you're back, by the way. Why are men afraid of losing half? Doesn't money belong to both? Is the question. Now I've been divorced. Urban, you've been divorced and remarried. Lionel, you're terrified of women, so I don't even think you know anything about this. But we'll still let you weigh in. What do you think about this question? Why are men afraid of losing half? Doesn't money belong to both? What do you guys think?
So we let the youngster go first, give his perspective. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I'm an
Lionel.
old head. That's you, Lionel. I'm old.
That is funny. I mean, it goes back into that mentality. If we're going to be honest, it goes back into the mentality I brought up earlier. A lot of guys let women dictate what it means to be a man. And what do they say? In order to be a man, what you got to have? Money. It literally goes into that. So now, if it's not your money, now it almost equates to being half a man. You're losing your manhood. That's how these guys are looking at it.
So,
Fascinating. Go
so
ahead.
from
Yep.
so from my perspective of being a divorcee, right? Losing half is a very, 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 very emotional thing, especially with a man. I want y'all to consider this. I want y'all to consider you working all your life to build up something. You don't do the sacrifice. You done went to school. You done hustle and bustle. You done gave all your blood, sweat, and tears to this very thing that you work hard for. And now, you done arrive at this point where you're making, nearly six figures, or you probably are making six figures or more. You decided that the best way for you to celebrate this achievement is to celebrate it with someone that you could possibly care about and love. You decide to find this type of person, which is a woman. Get married to this woman, but however, this woman wasn't doing the same as that thing that you was doing. She coasted through life. She had special opportunities for her where she was literally given certain type of things, but she never technically earned it. You end up marrying this woman. She end up reaping all the benefits of your labor. You know what I'm saying? Then guess what? One day she decided that, you know what? I don't want to be with you no more. So when she decided to not be with you no more, she also learned that the law in your state says that everything that you bring into this marriage is considered as what? Community property. So she utilized the community property law and get over just about 50% or more of that very thing that you worked decades for. You work hard for it. And now she then took half of that. And that's just the basic community properties. We're not talking about spousal support. We're not talking about child support. If I had children, we're just strictly talking about community property. That's the reason why men feel the way that they feel about that. I'm gonna throw this out there. Then you go on There you have it on universal. Let's flip it around. Let's flip it around with the woman. The best example that we could use in this situation is who? Halle Berry. She's dealing with the same concept where she then went through divorce after divorce after divorce. And guess what? Them same dudes got community property over her. And on top of that, she's dealing with child support. You go ahead, Universal.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I think the fear is when your marriage is failing and you know that your life is about to change dramatically, to know that there's a high percentage probability that you're gonna lose half of everything that you built, whether it was together or not. There is a level of fear there. Most men do not recover well after divorce. They don't. They struggle. The downsizing, it's frustrating. And speaking for myself, I had to come to a realization probably about a month into the mediation of my divorce that I am prepared to lose half of this, and I needed to prep myself for half of this shit to be gone. And at that point in time in my divorce, in the process, we had settled on custody, which is for most men when they're going through divorce, if there's children involved, that is the biggest hurdle. So I was very fortunate that we were able to knock that out right away. And that led a lot of opportunity to figure out what was going to happen next. We were split down the middle, 50-50 custody, no arguments, no issues. It literally was signing off on some documents and move on to the finances. And I remember going to mediation, walking into my lawyer's office, prepared to lose half of everything. And my ex-wife was very clear. She didn't want anything to do with the house, which was a big fucking breath of air for me. And then from there, I live in the state of Minnesota. We have what's called the family calculator. I think some name for it. I forgot the name, but it's like a family calculator where they put your income, your assets, hers, all into this calculator, and they let you know how much in spousal support, how much in potential child support you may owe. And God was in my favor that day because I didn't owe any child support. Actually, my ex-wife owed me. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. The mediator couldn't even believe it. He was like, Mr. Jones, you make so much money. I don't even know how this is possible. And he told me and my lawyer in front of my ex-wife and her lawyer, if this goes to a judge, there's no way they're going to allow that with the amount of money you make for your ex-wife to pay you child support. They're gonna flip this. So you guys need to come up with an answer on what you're gonna pay monthly. I was with my lawyer. My ex-wife was on a Zoom with hers, which was a mistake on her end because it gave me an advantage because me and my lawyer could mute the mic and talk. And my lawyer said, how much do you think you can pay your ex-wife monthly? She said, give me the exact number you think, and we're gonna work from there. I told her what that number was. She said, cool, I'm gonna see as much as I can get this down, I can. And she did. We worked out a deal. I don't pay any child support, thank God. I do pay alimony, but I was able to sign what's called a cave-in waiver. I think it's called a cave-in or Kyron waiver. Yeah, cave-in waiver, which shortened the time. Because I could be paying her until my youngest child is 18. But the cave-in waiver came and saved my life to a 3-year minimum. So I pay alimony for 3 years now. So I came out on top. And it did cost me. Like I had to give her, pretty much I emptied out my investment account for her. I gave her some additional dollars as well to start. Yeah, I know. It was painful. But honestly though, Lionel, the money I spent on the front end saved me probably hundreds of $1,000s later too. So saved me a lot, bro. So it was worth it it was worth it to go through that, but it was painful. Seeing that money leave that account was painful, and they weren't waiting. It was like you need to pay her within like the next 3 weeks. Like you got to cut that check now. They weren't fucking around, man. That's how this shit works. So seeing that what I worked for, those investments, all that stuff that I worked for, just go to her just because she said she was done. That shit's painful, man. And a lot of men go through that. But go ahead.
Hey, Bean said this. He said box is expensive. And that's the point that we're trying to equate to y'all tonight is that it is box is expensive. A woman is expensive. That's why it's very vital for you to vet out that woman. If you're doing your best to want to be in a relationship with a woman, it's nothing wrong with it at all. Period. But you have to vet out that woman. You have to make sure that she goes along with your program for real. If she goes against that program, then more than likely it's not going to work. It's doomed to fail. You know what I'm saying? So yes, vet out, choose wisely who you want to be in a relationship with. Definitely choose wisely who you want to procreate with as well too.
Absolutely. He said, he said, stop crying, man.
But dude, like,
Yeah, they over at the lounge tripping.
It's painful. You should cry, man. That shit's painful. There's some tears that get squeezed out. Go ahead, Lionel.
I agree, but now see, my mind comes into what I do, because it's like you getting to know somebody, and then 6 months later, this girl activates her spell card, and now all of a sudden things change. Or just when you adapt to that, she activates her trap card, or she activates, or when you think you're about to attack, not in a physical way, but you about to do some real crap, she activates a hand trap card, or honest out of her hand, or effective veiler. Everywhere you go, like, you could be vetting this girl for 2 years and she's playing a game of Yu-Gi-Oh with you. And you got guys who end up in these situationships who don't know if that's even their girl or not. And I'm saying this from experience, because I've had guys ask me these questions, and I'm like, dang, how long you been dating her? And this is numerous different guys. They don't know what their situation is, but they're telling me they've been with this girl for a year, 6 months, 2 years, and they're still trying to figure her out.
So check this out, Lionel. You remember when I was having that conversation similar to this at the lounge, right? Once again, what men tend to do is that they get complacent. They get comfortable in their relationships.
Yeah.
They start off at first doing exactly what you're talking about, doing vetting out and all this stuff, that right? But the moment when they feel like they won the game, they stop. But that woman is still going, no matter what. She's still calculating. She's still playing the game. She's still strategizing, using moves. She'd have created a unknown bank account that you didn't even know about that was there. You know what I'm saying? Doing all these different type of strategies, preparing for the worst. While you sitting up here being a sucker and dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's vital for that man to continue playing the game. And this is what I said when we was at the lounge, is that the man had to continue to strategize with that woman. He had to understand the whole dynamics of how the way the mind of a woman work. He had to understand that, and plus he had to accept it. Not in a real pure rage mode, but to accept what it is, period. That way you know how to continue to play the game and move accordingly, if that's your desire.
That leads right to my next question. Why do you think so many men have felt drawn to the red pill content in the first place? What's happening?
Bad experience. That's exactly what's drawn them. Bad experience and empathy, but ultimately that, and of course, because they're pushing that content on people. But definitely bad experience, honestly. Unfortunately, a lot of guys have had, from what I've seen, and I could be wrong, they've had one bad experience, which got them into there, and then now they're believing that so many experiences are going to be bad. And lack of leadership qualities, lack of knowing what themselves are, Next thing you know, they're in these spaces, they're with their red pill rage, cheering it on.
So I will also add on to what Lionel say is this. Not only that, but it initially starts off with entertainment. So say, for example, let's run it back in time. Let's run it back in time way before Kevin Samuels, way before Fresher Fit, way before Andrew Tate. It was a main content creator that was doing this thing. Y'all remember who he was? Tommy Soda.
Tom Likas. Oh, Tommy Sotomayor. I was going back even further. But go ahead. Yeah,
he went back even further. So,
Yeah.
but Tommy Sotomayor, when he came into the social media space, preferably in YouTube, started off at YouTube, right? He made a very, very, very sensationalism claim. He made a sensationalism claim dealing with black women. He said that black women ain't shit. He said black women are destructive. He even talked about the attitude of the black woman. He talked about their hair, all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so this was something that it was unheard of in social media for a man to say the things that he was saying. So by it being so polarized, right, men start gravitating to that. Like, you know what? Tommy is right. You're right. They do have a bad attitude. So that initial hook is what start captivating them, start pulling them into that initial content. You know what I'm saying? Which it also deal with what Lionel was talking about as well too. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with the trauma that they've been dealing with, and you know the women that they chose to be with, and different things like that too.
Yeah, and you know, I brought up Tom Likas. You know, he's throwback. I mean, it wasn't called
Yeah, he
Red Pill
throwback.
back then.
So
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
thought you was gonna say Rollo Tomasi
That's
first.
the part he was going to say too.
It was before Rolo. Tom Likas was before Rolo, and honestly, Patrice O'Neal was even a little
Yeah.
before
Yeah,
Rolo
yeah.
Tomasi. Rolo benefited because he put it in the book. These guys were on radio and comedy and things of that nature, but Rolo put it in actual book form. And you know, especially back in those times, you put something in the book, you become the authority. And that's how it works. But yeah, there have been men who've talked about these things for quite some time. But again, the opinions of these men was so abnormal based on the other media they were competing against. And even still today, like the red pill gets such a negative spin on it because these are men actually standing up for themselves in a society that is very misandrous. You're not supposed to have a voice. You've done so much harm in this world as a man. You're supposed to be silent and support all things feminine. And that's a uncomfortable space to be. And I know people are going to be like, oh, you're just blaming women for everything. But that is a part of this puzzle. The other part of the puzzle, other pieces of the puzzle have to deal with what men are lacking, which is healthy male development overall, from my standpoint.
I mean, to be fair, gentlemen, to be really fair, another reason why the red pill and the manosphere and other spaces like pickup artists and passport bros, mid-toe, and all these other one factors too. The reason why they got a bad rep is due to the patriarchal system. So let's be honest. Let's call it for what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Let's call it for what it is. Because depending on your understanding with the patriarchal system, right, is very contingent how the way you're going to move and operate in these spaces. Now, if you are moving like how it was back in the day in the original patriarchal system where they was treating women as property, where they was abusing women, they was doing all these different things to women, and you believe in that same concept even to this day, then yeah, that's where the one negative connotation is coming from, you know, with the red pill and manosphere. But however, there are also other spaces like myself that's actually teaching the truth about that, which I acknowledge that, yes, the patriarchal system screwed up. Yes, but however, there are others in the spaces that's trying to bring you back into the original philosophy of waking you up to the truth. Wake you up to the truth that, yeah, you need to be a man and first focus on yourself, take care of yourself, take care of your goals, take care of everything you need to do. Then if you want to venture out and have someone that's suitable for you, make sure you find that person who's going to be suitable in your situation. Don't be just looking at a woman just because how the way she looking, just get stuck there. Find, you know, quality out of her, you know, through her characteristics, what she could bring, you know, literally to the table. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-oh. Don't start talking about the table now. Those are trigger words, man. What you try to get my channel shut down, man? I ain't even at 1,000 subs yet. Talking about tables and stuff. Man, I've heard women say I am the table.
Hey, it might make a channel go viral, bro. Sure.
It might, man, for the wrong reasons. I ain't gonna be battling these women forever, you know. But actually one of the first panels that I did. This is years ago. This is back when Jay-Z put out that 444 album. It was me and probably I think about 9 or 10 black women, all professionals. These are all women I knew on Facebook or in real life, all close, if not six-figure earners, close to it. And we were talking about that 444 album and Jay-Z. This is when Jay-Z came out and said he was cheating on Beyonce and all this.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I had one question. I set it up so perfect. I was deep in the red pill at this point. Even though I was married, I was in it because I was a marriage and family therapist, and I was hearing couples over and over and over with the same kind of conversation. And my one question to these women was, "Have you ever said niggas ain't shit?" That was the only question I asked them. And then I let them just talk the whole time. It's still on YouTube. You can check it out. Every last one of them, when they came on the panel, this is back in Google Hangout days. When they came on the panel, they had to answer that question before I let them say anything else. Every one of them said yes. And these are women from all different walks of life, all across the country, middle class to upper middle class. They all said niggas wasn't shit. And I just find that fascinating. It's like, see, this is the misandry that we live in right here, right today. So, which I think that's part of why the red pill exists. All right. My next question was, I was going to skip a question. What was it? Oh, we're going to get to this one. Do you think the red pill is actually dying, or is it just evolving into something new? Because I keep hearing this term, the red pill's dead, the red pill's dead. Where do you see this content and these conversations going currently?
It is not dying. I'm going to tell you that right now. Case in point, Married with Children. No, ma'am. That no, ma'am group was the prototype for the red pill. That literally was what that was in the 1980s into the 90s. Because Al Bundy's entire existence was what? A man trapped by his domestic life, his demanding wife, society that was constantly trying to emasculate him. No, ma'am was his awakening. Got a group of men, they were going to the basement or the garage and reclaim their space. That is the literal blueprint that y'all would see decades later. Their whole thing was the rejection of the blue pill, which, hey, get married, provide, follow the societal script. He was saying that the script is failing. He did exactly what was told. He got the job, the house, the family. He was miserable. Dude was constantly reminiscing about what? How he got those 4 touchdowns in a single game. And he was always that was his version of looking back at a time before he was tamed by the system. All we've seen from just that blueprint is it constantly evolving. I've heard in people that, they're talking about a red pill 2.0. People are trying to kill it, absolutely. But the problem is what I'm talking about, although it was satire, the dude was still a hero in that show. And it's like in modern era, especially in the last few years, I have seen videos going viral with Al Bundy, pointing back to Married with Children. And how that archetype was already there. All the emotional groundwork for the men who felt like him in the modern world, that was there. And we've seen it evolve into the spaces that which is in. And don't be wrong, not saying some of it can't be hurtful, but if these dudes don't let these women control their narrative, it's going to keep going no matter what. They already let the lion out of the cage.
I'm going to also say that the red pill is not dying, but what is happening is that it's being watered down and it's also being commercialized. Because so many men enter through the pain, the breakups and the rejection instead of being disciplined. And then also the content shifted from truth to entertainment and to outrage forming, which what I label as red pill rage. The weaker man turn it into complaining about women instead of improving himself, and the platform censor or suppress anything that is anti-mainstream. It's called for what it is. I also believe that the message has been hijacked by the rage, by the bitterness, and by clout-chasing gurus. It's called for what it is. And the honest truth, gentlemen, is that the original principles, which is deals with self-improvement, awareness, and discipline, are timeless. You know what I'm saying? And this last, the red pill, it didn't fail, man. I'm a firm proof that the red pill have not failed us at all.
I agree.
But however, man failed to apply it correctly.
I agree.
Yeah, application. Yeah. Yeah, there's a big difference between awareness and application, man. That's in many different forms of life. And just because you know something doesn't mean you can apply it effectively. I think that's where a lot of people mess up on things. But yeah, absolutely. So you both kind of talked about this. Lionel said it more directly, but it's a question for both of you. Why do you think so many men build their identities in reaction to women instead of building it around purpose, values, and discipline? What's going on with men there?
You know, I'm actually, this about to sound so bad.
It normally do, Lionel.
I know, don't it? I'm about to blame the single moms. I'm about to blame the single moms.
Uh-oh, here you go blaming women. Okay, we're going viral. Let's go.
But at the same time, I gotta blame the feminine influence that has happened. Because when you go to school, over 80% of teachers are who? They're women. From pre-K up into getting to college. Your ultimate influence are women. The person that you generally are seeing most at home is the mom. Hopefully she's interacting with you. When you go out to work during the day, most of the people that you're seeing out there are women. This isn't to say you're not seeing men, because I know people try to change my words. You have a dominant amount of feminine influence throughout the day. Growing up, listening to what these women are saying. It's only recently that you're actually starting to hear what the men are saying. But at the same time, you're getting the constant pushback as well. By who? Women and guys who want to be women. So you're getting that pushback. That's why it's so much feminine influence that's shaping the men's, their mentality. It's another reason why they're so lost.
I also want to take the stance with Lionel too, dealing with the single mother, right? The reason why is because I want y'all to consider these young boys who are growing up without a father for wherever the reason is, whether he's a deadbeat, whether he got unalive, whatever case may be, right? And he's growing up with these single mothers, right? Typically, the behavior of a child is to mimic their parent or their guardian or their legal guardian. That's where it boils down to. And so by that happening, right, without having masculine influences, I put it this way, positive masculine influences, because not all masculine influences could be positive, so I want to throw that out there. But positive masculine influence, when it's lacking that, right, what happens is that these boys develop what is known as hyper-emotional tendencies. Instead of them learning how to channel their emotions and to channel it in a healthy way, they project it as though as they're women themselves, you know what I'm saying? Because this goes with the concept that women are more emotional than men, you know what I'm saying? But however, when a man is hyper emotional, right, he tends to make very, very irrational decisions. He tends to do things based solely how the way he's feeling in that moment, instead of, really learning to express it. Therefore, it creates the type of men that we're dealing with right now, who once again is in this red pill space, who are raging right now. They don't know how to channel their emotions. They don't know how to downgrade from being a hyper emotional male into being a sound, structured male who's full with stoicism.
Yeah.
Also, notice what Urban said though. So he pointed out something that wasn't being pointed out when I was growing up, and I'm sure a lot of other guys can say the same thing. But I'm going to, when you're looking for that type of influence or that type of figure, you want something positive. A lot of things you'll just be told, hey, a man just needs to be around the house.
Mm-hmm.
That man could be bending you over backwards and having his way with you. He could be beating you down, beating the mom down, doing all type of things. But it's, hey, a man is in the house.
Mm-hmm.
That's how people did it. That's how they worded it. It wasn't, hey, a positive influence or a man of quality or things like that. It was just, hey, a man in the house. So it didn't matter if he was negative or not.
Well, I wonder if that was because in those times, men had roles and responsibilities that you didn't need to talk about it. They just were done. I don't know. I'm not that old enough to speak towards it, honestly. I'm a kid of that era. But I wonder if during that time, just that men's presence, he was already expected to do things that he was doing, whether he was being abusive or not. Maybe he was still stepping up to the plate and handling men type things. I don't know. What do you all think? Urban, you might be able to help us answer this. You were probably a little older than us, but still young during that time. What are your perspective on men back in those times versus today?
So the man back in that time, they was dealing with what is known as duty. Okay, the solely duty, meaning that they could be toxic, they could be narcissistic, but as long as they're fulfilling their duties, then it's okay. Case in point, this dude, he could want to break in the money, he could want to pay all the bills and do everything right, but at the same time, he could be abusive to his wife, he could be abusive to his children, he could be present but not present as well too. But his excuse is, hey, I'm paying the bills, so I could do whatever the hell I want to do, because I'm the man. And I believe that during that time frame, that was their mentality. That was them type of man mentality. You know what I'm saying? To behave that way. Now, was it good to behave that way? Absolutely not. Not at all. It was very destructive to behave that way. Then to top it off, you have your sons looking at this same type of behavior as well too. And guess what they're doing? They're mimicking it. They're growing up. They're becoming teenagers. Their first dating experiences, them treating their peers the same exact way how the fathers treating their mother, where they're being aggressive, they're being toxic. But check this out: the younger girls believe that that's a form of love.
Mm-hmm.
This is the whole concept where they go out to the bad boy mentality, because they believe that this type of projection is a form of love, but in reality, it's not. It's toxic.
You know what's crazy? A lot of these girls are aware that it's toxic and they still accept it and actually encourage it too. That's the thing that it's like completely just breaks your mentality. It's like, wait, so you know it's toxic and you still want it. And some girls, if the relationship isn't toxic, they feel like they are not being loved. That's how damaging and ass backwards we have got when it comes to dating. It blows my mind. So when they do get a dude who does treat them right, he's boring, he's weird, he's a square. They don't want it. They move on until they get washed up, and then they want to come back to some level of comfort. It's crazy, man. Go ahead, Lionel. You was gonna say something?
No, go ahead. I was listening.
It's wild. It's wild. We got a couple points and questions in the chat. I've seen a couple people so far tonight bring up this mother-son dynamic, and I'm going to see if you guys have any insight on this. Lotus Flower says a healthy mother-son dynamic can create a more masculine man if the father figure is not around. What do you guys think about that statement? Can a healthy mother-son dynamic help create a masculine man?
Lionel?
I like the wording that was used, healthy, but at the same time, we need to know what a healthy version looked like. Because if we're looking at society, evidently we don't see a lot of those examples. So I would have to know what a healthy version looked like. But I do agree. I agree.
Could you give us an idea of what it may look like for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why Lionel
But-
tripping. I thought he was going to give us his personal anecdotal experience because this question is tailored just for him.
The problem with that is he's doing that. I gotta also look at other guys around me though. That's the thing. I can look at my own situation, but at the same time, when I'm looking at other guys, other boys, other young men, other adult men, I don't actually see a lot of that healthy dynamics that's being, that she's saying. I see a lot of guys that are lost, a lot of guys that are submissive to women, a lot of guys who have built their identity in reaction to women. That's what I see. So it's like I can use my experience, but then that's kind of unfair when I'm looking at so many other experiences that do not have a positive outcome. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And it's mainly because they had their mom. They had, the mom, quote unquote, raising them. Because I never really believed that, a woman really does it on her own, because that's just the key to failure. She's had men around. She's brought in the uncle, the grandfather. She's brought in the pastor. I hope not. She's brought in other guys to try to help that little boy turn into what he's going to become. But it's under her leadership at the end of the day. And then what is that going to do for a guy? It's going to make him look at the woman like she's the leader. That's what he's been grown into. That's what he's been grown into. That's where his mind is going to go into. And all that does is play in part with the feminism. So again, I'd have to see what the healthy dynamic looked like.
So I'm gonna take a strong stance on this. All right, I'm gonna take a strong stance and say that I don't believe that a woman can create a more masculine man even when the father figure is not around. And the reason why I'm taking this stance is because, just like what Lionel mentioned earlier, that at the end of the day it's going to require some type of positive masculinity for this boy to understand what masculinity look like. I know that there are women out there who that could be leaders, no doubt about that. I know it's women out there who could pretend to be strong. I know there are women out there who could also cosplay and pretend that they're masculine, but at the end of the day, they're gonna revert back to their factory default settings as being soft, being a woman. And so, a woman is never going to be able to reach the level of understanding masculinity like how way a man would understand masculinity. Just like the same way with a man would never understand the concept of being feminine and being soft, because that's a woman's space. That's their space. That's like a soft space. So it always takes for some type of man to build that boy into a man. Whether it's through, fellow peers, where, it's another man who's positive, who's healthy, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's a grandfather or uncle, to administrator, whoever the case may be, who's there and present in that boy's life. That's what's going to be the key point into making that boy become masculine men in a positive way, but not a woman. A woman can't do it, not at all.
Yeah, I don't think a woman can do. I think she can help him be a healthy individual, but that boy is gonna have to do his own soul searching and his own connecting with other men to help him get to develop as a man. I had to do it. I mean, I'm still developing. I don't think there's a final frontier when it comes to being a man. Like it's a process. It's a process. Absolutely. And I think men have to go through the process of being rejected and hurt by a woman. They have to go through a process of having ups and downs financially and occupationally. And men have to learn how to become a father, I believe. Um, and then ultimately, when you get older, I think men have to learn how to become a grandparent. I think that those are important stages of life that men should go through. And I haven't hit the grandparent place yet. And hopefully, I don't hit it for another 20 years or so. But I'm dead serious with that one. But I think that you have to experience these things in life to kind of evolve as a man and get to, where we're at. So that's kind of my angle. But for me, like, honestly, my stepfather, my brother's dad, I have two younger brothers. He was around in moments. And the moments he was around, he was terrorizing our home. And so for me, it felt like I really did grow up with a single mother.
Understandable.
And he was not a father to me at all. I don't remember him teaching me one thing about being a man. I don't remember him fucking throwing a football or baseball around with me or nothing. He just treated me like, how they talk about the redheaded stepchild? Like, that's how I was to him. And I never understood it until my grandma let out the family secret like a couple weeks before I turned 12. And then I was like, oh, he's not my dad. That makes a lot of sense now. And I remember from that moment and that like month of me learning that he wasn't my dad to me turning 12, in my head, I said, I can't depend on men. I got to figure this thing out on my own. And that is a dangerous mentality for a 12-year-old to have. Because I didn't know shit. I had a little bit of hair on my chin coming in, a little bit of hair under my underarms. I'm thinking I'm about to be a man. Just reckless. And luckily, I was smart enough not to be an idiot. But I know that there are other boys out there who have a similar mentality because their dad's not there, that they're going to try to figure out how to be a man on their own. And they're 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. And that's where destruction can come in. So, without some proper guidance or some models or some experiences that don't cripple them, I think that those are opportunities for young boys to grow. So that's my answer to the question.
So you mentioned earlier about a young man need to go through heartbreak, right? And it's very interesting
Yes.
because me and my wife, we had a conversation because her son is going through that phase right now. He haven't had heartbreak yet, but he's going through the dating phase right now. And so her number one concern is that she don't want her son to get hurt by this girl that he's dating. I told her that that's part of him being a man. At first, she gave me a lot of pushback on that because she was seeing it emotionally, right? She said that I don't want my son to get hurt. You know what I'm saying? I don't want these things to happen to him. But when I started explaining it to her, that's when she thought about it. I started telling her, I like, look, one of the main things about a man that we got to learn is dealing with rejection. If we don't learn how to deal with rejection at a young age, when we become older, we're going to become toxic, we're going to become narcissistic. So it's important for us to learn how to process these type of emotions. And therefore, since he have a man like myself present in his life, I can help him navigate through them type of emotions that he having. That's my duty. That's my job to do that.
Absolutely. I think that men also need to break what I call the mommy spirit. And men need to see their mothers as women at some point in time in their adolescence and not as these goddess-like figures that many of us do. And I say that because, man, I've seen so many adult males, 30s, 40s, sometimes even in their 50s, treat their moms like they are these like mythical figures where they're compressing their own manhood. And I'm just like, dude, what is going on here?
You better
And the
watch
moms
out.
just go ahead.
Hey, you better watch out. You're going to offend the FBA community, bro.
Well, I used to be one of those goofy pro blacks where the black woman is God and all that shit. But again, that will destroy a relationship. When you're treating a woman like that and she's expecting you to show up and you're up here placating to these false ideas of who she should be, you're gonna lose in that dynamic. Trust me, it's not gonna work. But when it comes to your mothers, like, you should still respect your mom. I'm not saying disrespect her, but understand that she's a woman just like many other women. She is your mother, but she is not somebody you should idolatrize. Like, it's just not. That's not. You should do it. I say a lot, man. I know so many adult men who are still, they almost treat their mothers like their daughters at this point, or they function like these son husbands that people talk about to their own detriment. They live with their mom. They're 50 years old, live with their mom. They've never been on their own. And it's like, and their mom doesn't have a health issue or nothing. Like, she's capable, but they're so stuck with her that they can't move on. It's a fascinating dynamic. Fascinating. But go ahead. I'm gonna get off my soapbox here. Go ahead.
So I also was sharing everybody at the lounge, right? I was sharing them that a man should never, under no circumstances, put the coochie on the pedestal and worship it like that. Because when you do that, you literally surrender your ability of being a man. You literally surrender your masculinity to this woman. And as you also said, that you making them become a guy. That's literally what idolatry is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. I really want to have a one-on-one with her. I don't understand. She's talking about, this is funny to me. I'm not confused about why women protect toxic men. They've been conditioned to protect toxic men, and this is why toxic men run rampant in so many different communities, is because they've been conditioned to treat those men like boys, and allow that toxicity to function. And it also gives a lot of women purpose, and a lot of women feel like they can change these men that they're coddling when they're toxic as well. It's sad. I wish they didn't do this, but they do. Anywho. Don't put me on a high pedestal. I'm still a man. I'm still learning. I don't know everything. I'm chasing e-girls at the time. So what the hell do I know? All right. Anyway, that's a joke. All right. Let me ask my next question. We are getting out of time, and I didn't mean to keep you guys for too long. So if you gotta go here, let me know. Okay,
you're great.
Perfect. All right. Let's transition a little bit into the transactional nature of dating, and I noticed this shaping up, I'll say, over the last 8 to 10 years or so. But in today's world, boy, it's very transactional dating. It's very transactional. I'm sure you guys are having conversation with men, or even having your own experiences. Urban, I know you're married now, but you were in the dating market not too long ago, so you probably felt some of this transactional nature as well. Let me see. What would be my first question? Why does dating feel more transactional than ever right now? What do you guys think?
Well, I'll say because of opportunities, and also because of entitlement. And also, I'll put it to you this way too. Now, the social media, it turned people into marketplace products, if that makes any sense. And then you also consider like the dating apps, right? Where if you go on these dating apps, they pretty much is like a shopping catalog. And so people end up developing these type of mentalities, you know what I'm saying? And so when they use these dating apps, they're looking at also value. They look about how it's measured by. When you're on these dating apps, you're looking at these people and they displaying themselves like they're on the shelf. They showing how much they cost. They showing their status. They showing their looks, and they showing their lifestyle display as well too. And so with women, they do this because they've been taught to want to maximize their outcomes. But men, they do this because they've been taught to compete for attention.
I agree.
What do you think?
I'm not competing for attention though. But I agree.
Why not? Why not? You want some attention, Lionel. Come on, man.
I don't know why you stuck.
Come on, man. You're a human just like the rest of us. You want some of that attention, man.
I'm not competing, man. If you want to give it to someone else, go ahead. It's, as someone keeps telling me, there's 4 billion other women out there. So I'm not about to be competing for no one's attention.
So what do you do? Because there's a lot of women want attention. So what do? You just keep moving on till you find one who doesn't think it.
Yeah, I keep moving on, but I don't have a problem with that, because if you want to give dude attention over there, go for it. You want to give the dude with the wife beater and dirty socks attention, go for it. Like, I'm not here to play
His
games.
shoes is clean though. His shoes is clean. Though.
I'm not.
Hey, by the way, I got one episode coming up on that. Well, Lionel sent that to me.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, we doing that tomorrow, gentlemen. Man, she got some content, man. She was like
She
the gift
do.
that kept on giving. I was like, oh yeah, we definitely talking about this.
But yeah, I agree with Urban though. I mean, it's a marketplace now. That's all dating is now. It's a whole marketplace.
Yeah, it is.
And they'll say, hey, it's only online. Nah, go out there and date. Get out there.
No,
It's a marketplace.
no. It's almost all the same. It's not quite there, but it's getting very close.
Hey,
Very
hey,
close.
Lionel, were we on a panel? I think almost a year ago, and we was having this conversation, and women was giving us pushback about the transactional relationship. Matter of fact, yeah, we was on Roz Girl channel. Yeah, we was on Roz Girl. We was having this
Yeah,
conversation.
salute to Ross girl. Yeah.
And
Well,
so
tell us more about that. Go. You can go into it. Go ahead.
yeah, so I was explaining to everyone, you know, in her channel that yeah, relationships are transactional. Period. You know what I'm saying? Even when you enter into an actual relationship, even when you enter into marriage, it's still transactional. It's based on as long as you can fulfill these type of requirements, then in return, that's what I'm gonna do for you. Sometimes that transactional could be one-sided, where it be only one person that will give all this stuff, right, and the other person does receiving, and that's it. Hence, dealing with what Lionel was saying earlier about the married children philosophy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. The transactional nature is there, man, and it's more overt than covert, I would say. So when people say that it's always been there, I think that's true. But in today's world, the women are not afraid to let you know what the transaction is and that the transaction is expected. And that's the truth. And you know, I've been in this dating market now, back in this dating market now for a little over a year and a half. And I'm like, this shit is crazy. I mean, you can almost predict how some things can turn out depending on who you're dealing with, who you're talking to, and how far you're willing to go. It's that bad. I think generations also have a role in this too. Like if you're dating a woman who's 35 and up, you know, they're usually looking for some commitment, like right away. Like, so if you're not trying to get married or have a baby or something, you might as well just go lower than that. Like, don't even, or I would say if you're dealing with a woman who's like mid 40s, they might have just come to the conclusion that I'm just here to have a good time. You can probably have a good time with those women, but other than that, you go younger, then you're looking at a different situation, a different dynamic. But yeah, the dating market is crazy right now. It's insane. And even some of these videos that we see online, like where they're just kind of pulling up on people in public and asking them what their dating choices are. Like, I've seen stuff where I've seen a girl tell this dude that she needed to cash app him just to follow her on Instagram. I was like, what the hell? Like, I mean, there's all types of craziness out here. Like, she was like, send me $25 right now. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm like, damn, just to follow you, not even to get your number, just to follow you on Instagram. Send me 25. And he did it. I was just like, what the hell? Insane. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Yeah,
you know, go ahead, man.
Oh no, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I gotta go back real quick because I know someone personally, and she showed me. We went out to lunch, and I just kept hearing alerts on her phone. I'm not dating her, but she showed me her phone, and she showed me 10 different dating apps that she's on, and she's showing me at minimum 50 men across these platforms. Different guys, actually. Guys in her inbox, all texting her, all trying to holler, all trying to get an opportunity, all competing for attention. She's over 40. And these guys are literally from 20 to 60. All trying to get that attention, all trying to holler. Number one thing they all had in common, they all wanted the box. They were at least being straightforward with it. Few of them definitely wanted a little bit more than that, but of course it became, get to know me, and then let's see where this go. So when I'm just looking at this person, I'm looking at her phone. She's showing me all of this, and she's have all her comments. It's like, dang, look at what the environment look like right now.
Hmm. Hey, Timothy over here at the lounge, he said this. He said that ignorance plays the role. And there's another saying too that say ignorant is bliss. Now this is very important because this goes back to what we were saying earlier about teaching a young man. If this young man don't know how to look out for certain type of things that are happening in this adult life, then guess what? He's gonna fall for it every single time. He's gonna become that sucker every single time. He's gonna become that simp every single time because at this point it's part of not knowing better, and also the other part is that he's accepting it as the immediate reality because he believed that this is the norm. This is what you're supposed to do.
I agree.
Yeah, it's becoming more of the norm than we think. And honestly, it's what's crippling a lot of potential marriage and family development at this point. Is it's so transactional. It's about what I can get out of you before you try to extract something out of me, and let's just keep it pushing forward. And I knew this question was going to come up, but yeah, we definitely are in a fallen state. But Timothy goes, "Well, what's the solution?"
I knew
What do
that
you,
was coming up.
it always comes up, and people ain't gonna like my answer, but I'll let you gentlemen chew on this one first. Go for it. What is the solution to this, gentlemen?
And it had to be a gentleman who asked us at the lounge because I know good and well at the lounge we always talk about accountability and we always talk about solutions as well too. So the solution moving forward is this, and I got to break it down, y'all. The solution, first of all, is dealing with identity. It starts with stop asking who likes me and start asking who I could become. Start building your identity through habits and standards and consistency. The second solution is discipline. You need to have discipline. You need to have freedom without restrictions. Okay, meaning that daily structures is what separate the boys from the men. Also, you need to have a certain type of schedule, like gym schedule, financial schedule, skill building schedule, whatever it takes for you to build yourself up as a man so you can be disciplined in that. Another part of it is dealing with leadership as well too, where it starts with self-governance. Self-governance means boundaries as well too. Now, you cannot lead if you cannot lead your time, you cannot lead your emotions or decisions. You know what I'm saying? You can't lead a woman nor family if you are hyper emotional. You know what I mean? Then the final part is dealing with purpose. You have to know your purpose as a man. Period. If you don't understand your purpose as a man, it's going to be impossible for you to be in a relationship if that's what you desire. Now, I want you to understand that women, money, and status, all of these are byproducts of what you're supposed to be. Women, money, and status comes afterwards, not before. Their also purpose is also equated to your mission that's bigger than your comfort. Because a man without purpose, guess what he's going to do? He's going to chase his pleasures. He's going to become distracted. He's going to get controlled easily. He's going to become hyper emotional. And then guess what? He's going to start blaming everyone other than himself. I land my plane.
Do you also digress? No, that was a joke. Lionel, go ahead. Lionel,
I have to
what
hit
are
the
your
land my
thoughts?
plane for the red pill community.
Yeah, and I digress. I was like, what? No, you're not digressing. People just be saying stuff. Go ahead, Lionel.
It's like I said, man. You gotta. No. I'm gonna reword this. Because I told the story before. I forgot where, but I know in 2018 I was not feeling myself. I was low. Um, had a whole mental breakdown. Just felt like I was in the void, and I got someone sitting here saying, "You got to come home. You got to come home." And I'm just sitting here like that. That's not fixing the problem though. Because if I go there, I'm just taking my problems with me. Then I had, other people like, okay, you need to go to therapy. You need to go to therapy. And I'm sitting here like, I need to figure this out on my own. And I kid you not, because I was trying to figure out, okay, I need to first work on myself. How am I going to work on myself? It's got to start with the ego. It's got to start with mentality. And what I did was got myself a nice championship title, and I literally started going to work holding my championship. I would go to the store holding my championship. I would be walking out in public holding my championship. Got the bosses saying, you can't wear that in the store. Wore it anyway. I got people either laughing or honking the horn. Wore it anyway. Because to me, I was a champion. And I was going to carry myself like that. And it absolutely helped to reconfigure how I was thinking. And it got me through the situation. And my ego was shot right back up. I got back to where I needed to be. But I couldn't take other people's suggestions on how to get better. I had to figure this out on my own. How was I going to get back to the top? And I needed to come up with that solution. And it's wild how so many people respected me after this fact. And it was like, damn, I don't have the balls to do that. Or I don't have I wouldn't be able to walk around wearing that or walking around having that mentality. I would have got help. This was my help. Technically, I bought like 5 titles, but that was my help. And the solution I'm trying to say is you got to sit down. You got to strategize. You got to figure out who you are. You got to figure out where you're going. You got to stop listening to everybody trying to steer you in a particular direction, especially if you don't believe in it, if you haven't done your research on it. How do you handle yourself? You got to keep pushing yourself in that mentality. How do you want to walk? How do you want to be seen? Because how I wanted to be seen, I went out in public and showed every last one of you how I wanted to be seen as the world heavyweight champion. And sometimes I took 2 belts with me.
So I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, both of you are talking about that internal process. I call it the mirror work. You got to stop looking out the window at what everybody else is doing and peer back and look in the window and look at what you can do differently. It's an internal process. When I was listening to you, Urban, it reminded me of something called post-traumatic growth, because you almost listed all 5 components in what you were saying. Even though you didn't say it directly, you were hitting on all of them. And really, that's what it is. I think that men have to adapt to where we're at, because you can't change it. This is cultural. You can't change it on your own. You have to adjust. And in this marketplace, you have to develop and elevate yourself to a level and have a very clear and cool understanding of who you want to be as a man before you start seriously trying to be in a relationship. If you don't figure that out, you're going to get manipulated and abused in this world, because these women are out here getting it for self. Like, they're out here doing their thing, and they're doing it because men lost their way and women found that, hey, it's better for us to be more like men than to be with them. And that's where we're at right now. And it's not all women, but it's enough of them where you're going to deal with them if you're out here dating. So if you don't get yourself together and in a healthy position, you're going to be pretty messed up, honestly. And then you have to figure out what type of woman is a good fit for you, because there's different type of women out here. And you might find that there might not be a woman that's good for you. You just play the field and keep spinning plates. That may be your thing. If you're built like that, you might find that you need to have a woman with you. And you got to figure out what's a good fit. But if you don't figure out what a good fit is for you, don't get in a relationship, bro. Just keep building yourself. Otherwise, you're going to get tore up from the floor up. Salute to Blue Jay. Welcome to the show.
And I want to add on that you have to accept that too. Wherever this path that you're going to go, you have to totally accept it, totally own it, and take on any type of accountability part of that too.
Yeah.
And also don't allow the culture to tell you that you got to be this certain type of way because this is their personal experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna ask another dating question, and then I'll wrap up here because we're getting close to 2 hours, and you gentlemen, you don't need to be on panels all night discussing relationships and stuff. Plus, I have a rule: once the panel gets to about 2.5 hours, that's when Negroes start losing it, and we'll be arguing in about 30 minutes. So I'm serious. And exactly. Classic boy behavioral recognition from Universal. Like I'm telling you, man, when that 2.5 hour mark that's when everything goes haywire, mate. Shut it down. Shut it down. All right. Here's my next question. How much of modern dating is driven by real connection, and how much is driven by status, convenience, image, and leverage? From your perspectives. Oh, and there was another question too. I forgot. Gobbledygook had a question. I'll get your question, Gobbledy. But go ahead. How much is driven? How much of modern dating is driven by real connection, and how much is driven by status, convenience, image, and leverage? From your guys' perspective.
They're dealing with the modern day time now. I would say up to about roughly about 85 to 90% is driven by status, convenience, image, and leveraging. Then the remainder of the percentage is dealing with actual connection. The reason why this is true is because we'll be seeing evidence of more of the connection component, right? We'll be seeing more evidence of the connection component if the connection component was true. That's what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, we see the evidence of the other, which is driven by status, convenience, image, and leveraging. And that's from both sides, both men and women.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Lionel?
I got to do the math on this.
Oh, he's about to give us an actual pie chart breakdown.
I gotta do the
Let's
math.
go, Lionel.
Yeah, this captain status.
Yeah.
Yeah, captain statistics.
Yeah. Well, Lionel,
go ahead. Just like I say, you could even look at the status of the divorce rate and stuff. They'll prove to you that it's not even built on connection, because if it was, the divorce rate would be lower. But unfortunately, it's higher.
Yeah, man, it's bad, man. I mean, you can look at the divorce rate, or you can look at how marriage rates are not, increasing. People are not even trying to get married. I think that's part of the highlights the transactional nature as well, is that there's no incentive in getting married. Or you can even look at birth rates. Like people aren't even having children like they used to, at least in the U.S. So there's a lot that's happening here when it comes to male-female dynamics. Lionel, are you done punching your numbers, sir? You ready to give us your pie chart?
2 + 2 do equals 4, by the way, Lionel.
I know where you're going with that. See, because I got to take some stuff out. Because the one where you had brought, all right, so like for me, I would say honestly 5% is status. Because most people not getting with someone who's got some real status. 25% I have to say connection, because it's there. I mean, this is why you see so many people, a lot of these quote unquote most educated black women getting with the dudes with the wife beaters and the dirty socks and flip-ons. And then 70% I would say is convenience. I mean, because it just shows in modern society it's convenient. People brag about, they put a high value on marriage until you talk to the married men or women and see how unhappy they are. They're not happy just because they're married. Or they'll say, oh yeah, well, I was happy when I was married, but you're divorced, so your argument's dead. Like all the other stuff, I would actually go put that into that little 5% status, because a lot of people honestly don't get that. So they have to go with convenience. And like I said, then, you add that little connection in, because there is a connection, but it only goes so far. And again, society is the evidence of that.
So define connection. This was for both you, Lionel, and Universal. Define exactly what connection is for this conversation.
Mm-hmm. I'll hop in first. Lionel, if you can
Go
think
for
about
it.
it. For me, connection is the ability to um, have genuine conversation and interest in one of us, or in the relationship. Both people have um, genuine interest in one another. That there is a desire to want to care, understand, and connect with the other person. That's what I would consider that. And it should be a two-way street. I think that it can be uneven at times and points in a relationship, but there should still be a level of that within the dynamic. That'd be my answer. Go ahead, Lionel.
I like what you said. Unfortunately, I got to talk about that because when you brought up the genuineness of it, it's something I also had to learn too for myself, that happiness is fleeting, that your emotions go up and down. They're they're momentary. 1 minute you could be happy, next minute you sad and angry. You can like somebody and then you don't give a crap about them. Hence why my whole mentality shifted from I'm trying to be happy until to I'm trying to be fulfilled. I wanted to get to that level. And when I'm looking at people, when I'm looking at what Urban has, a connection, it's momentary. Some people genuinely, dang, I really like this person for the moment. And then time marches on.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, you don't like that person.
Mm.
Yeah, see, I found both of y'all answers interesting because there's just like where both of y'all are articulating that ultimately it's based on the choices, based on the decision of likability, and it's also
Mm-hmm.
based on compatibility per se,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that moment it could come and go at any given situation. It could go away mentally. It could go away by just solely decision making. It could go away by finding another person.
Circumstance.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
circumstances with another person who's even more have even more connection. That's where you get people be having work husbands and work wives and different
Hmm.
things like that happening. That's where cheating happens as well too. So that's why I kind of asked that question about connection. Also, gentlemen, is this safe for us to consider connection not only as a positive thing, but it can also be a negative thing too?
Yeah, it can be. It can definitely be
Yep.
unhealthy. Codependency, trauma bonding, absolutely.
hmm And yet it's still people still connect within that framework, even through toxicity. They connect through toxicity. We see relationships right now where they be arguing and doing all kind of crazy stuff, but yet they're still connected, right? Because of commonality.
Sometimes it's the reason why people stay together when they probably shouldn't, is that they do have so much in common, but they're like the worst two people for each other. But it's almost like the sunken cost fallacy. Like they've invested so much time in one another. They're like, we might as well stay together, but they should probably just leave because it's awful. It's bad.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Salute to
they
Woody
don't want to.
Johnson.
Just like I say, they don't want to believe because, like I say, they're connected to each other. They invested all this energy of getting mad and upset and having Jody from Baby Boy sex later and
Yep.
repeat the cycle.
Yep.
Mm. It's tough out here, man. It doesn't have to be, but it unfortunately it is for so many
Yeah.
people.
It doesn't have to be, but it is.
All right, I'm gonna get you guys out of here with this last question. Gobbledygook asked a question. Shit, man, I lost it. Well, she asked two questions. I'll just ask the first one. I thought was a better one. So what do you guys think about this question here? This is the second question that she asked. Can somebody give a concrete example of a transactional dating? Concrete example of transactional dating. When
Urban.
you guys
Urban.
hear that, oh, you guys hear that? What is transactional dating?
Knock it out, Urban.
All right, so here's an example. I um I see you out. I introduce myself. We both agree that we're attracted to each other, right? And we want to go out on a date. We agree to the basic terms of the date, which is that I'll get in contact with you. Then later on down in line, we start trying to figure out the things that we want to do with the date. Now, the reason why it becomes transactional is this. Once when we start having the conversation, and most women would say that they want the man to take the lead, correct? And so once when we have the conversation and the man say, hey, we're going to go out and have a cup of coffee and just have a conversation, that's it. The woman would instantly say, no, I don't do coffee. I don't drink coffee. Can we go to Route 44, Route Chris, wherever the hell it is, right? Let's go there instead. That's the moment.
Let's go to Nobu. Let's go to
Let's go to
Nobu.
Nobu. Let's go to wherever, right? That's the moment when it becomes transactional. It starts from there. So, of course, the man, he's interested with you, right? He's going to agree to them terms, which is transactional. He's going to agree to them terms, and he's going to want to be known as a sucker. Not a simp, but a sucker. Because he's agreeing to the terms that he really didn't want to do, but he's going to go ahead and do it anyway to please you, to go out with you. You end up on going out on this date, right? And so the man, he's trying to get to know you better. And then by him getting to know you better, he made the foolish mistake of saying, hey, whatever you want to order on the menu, it is on me. Foolish mistake. But however, it's a transactional because he know that if he doesn't open that opportunity up for that woman, 9 times out of 10, that woman is going to reject him. So it becomes a transactional situation even then. Then it becomes even more transactional is when the man say that he's going to pay for the whole entire meal. Now, after when this whole entire date is happening, right, in the back of this man's mind, he's like, look, I'm sitting up here literally purchasing you because it's literally what's happening right now. He's literally purchasing you for this moment. So obviously, if I'm investing into you, I need something in return, and hence most of the time men be at that moment be wanted sex in return. So his mind became transactional. The woman mind is transactional, and that's how the way the dating be transactional. Now, what's even more worse is that let's say in the same scenario that with all that said and done, y'all still are interested in each other, then eventually you want to pursue an actual relationship with each other. You get into a relationship, you eventually get married with the same transactional mindset. That's what makes it even worse. So I hope I explain it in that scenario. That's how relationships could be absolutely transactional, even going into marriage and continue on in marriage where it continues to be transactional.
Yes, indeed.
Like anniversaries. Birthdays,
Valentine's Day,
Valentine's Day. Remember
Mother's
when we
Day.
Mother's Day. Remember when we first met Day.
My birthday is the whole month. What?
I'm so sorry, y'all.
I'm a Sagittarius. Okay, and seriously, man, I heard, what did this girl tell me once? She was like, I'm having a half birthday. I'm like, what is that? She's like, it's 6 months to my. I'm like, heifer, what? Like, what are we talking about? Man, there's some crazy stuff out here. But again, the reason why a lot of these ladies can do these things is because there are men who are willing to entertain it. And I say that all the time. And I know my online lore is UJ's a simp, blah, 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 right? But people have no idea, like, the dynamics and situations that we have going on. But we have such a saturated transactional nature that just being nice to a woman will consider you to be a simp. But people really don't understand that all these relationships are transactional. See, look, I told you, you thought I was playing? Half birthdays are real. And you know what? Rise and shine, Sonny. You probably did that. And there's probably a guy who got you that half birthday gift too. So salute to him.
Now I also want people to get this understanding since Universal used the term simp.
I knew he was going to do that.
There's a difference between being a simp and being a sucker.
Well, let them know, man.
Yeah.
So
please break it down because I'm considered both. So help the audience help me. Go ahead.
So being a simp is you doing everything without reciprocation. That is what a simp is. You're sitting up here doing all these different things for a woman and not being reciprocated in return. That's the clear definition of a simp. Or the original definitions means simpleton, which is to fall for anything. That's pretty much what it is. Now, to be a sucker is you doing these things, and it's what we're talking about right now, and it's transactional. You know what I'm saying? You're doing all these things with the hopes that you're going to potentially smash this person. And they may give you like the bare minimal, like, let you hold their hand or let you kiss them or feel on their booty or titties, whatever stuff, right? And then they won't let you go all the way. It's called being a sucker. Or she'll do the bare minimum thing, right? Like we was talking about holidays, right? You'll sit up her and give her this most expensive, extravagant gift that she always wanted for her birthday, right? But in return, when it comes to Father's Day, she give you a fucking tie and socks.
My bad.
That's a sucker. That's a sucker.
We don't want no more socks, ladies. Just get some cologne. I mean, if you got to make it standard, just get some cologne or watch. No more socks. You're a simp, Universal. Simp is always a sucker. Gimp, her whole do laptops, monies. I don't even know. Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. Salute to Woody Johnson, by the way. The laptop thing is never gonna leave me. It's amazing. But anywho, yeah, there's a difference. It doesn't matter what the lore is always gonna be the lore, no matter how much context I share and give. The women have came out themselves and said Universal is not a simp. It doesn't matter. I will always be a simp in their eyes, but it's okay. My life is amazing. Final words, gentlemen. We are at the 2-hour mark. I've taken a lot of your time. We've had a good stream so far. Final thoughts when it comes to the red pill today: manhood, masculinity, or the transactional nature of dating. What are your final thoughts? What do you want to leave the audience with? We're gonna start with you, Urban, and then Lionel will come to you next.
Once again, appreciate you, Universal, for allowing me to speak on your platform today. And shout out to everybody at the lounge who are watching the stream right now. Appreciate y'all staying this long. We roughly got, I think, about 115 people watching right now. So shout out to y'all. And also thank you so much for the gift that you given as well too. Thank you so much for that. And also I got Universal page pinned on my page right now. So if you want to follow this phenomenal content creator, by all means do it. It's pinned right now. It's at Be Better Net. And I got a pin on my page right now. So my closing words is this. I want to let people know clearly that the red pill isn't dying, but however, it's separating. Now that means this. This means that there are men out there who want the truth versus men who just simply want comfort and entertainment. That's what's really happening. It's a separation. Now, this era isn't destroying masculinity, but what it's doing is that it's exposing which men never had it. And I'll close with that.
Amazing. Thank you. Lionel, final thoughts, sir.
Just like him, I appreciate you for having me up. It's been fun. It's been fun. Guys, men, young men, boys, got to learn who you are. Got to put that picture in your head. You got to create that picture. How you want to see yourself is exactly how you need to be operating in the world. Do not let these women tell you what it is to be a man. Stop holding your mom on a pedestal. Shoot, don't even hold your dad on a pedestal. Hold yourself on a pedestal. Walk with purpose. Operate with purpose. Wake up with purpose. Go to sleep with purpose. Knowing that you're about to wake up and you're going to make something happen after you get this rest. Like, you have to understand that you are the champion of your story. You are the main character. Y'all have to stop being the side character in your own story. That's the only way you're going to get out of this. And I'll leave it with that.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Before we close out, Rise and Shine Sunny said, what did I stumble on? A man cave? Not necessarily. Not necessarily, but we are having a healthy conversation about men. We're not necessarily bashing women while we're doing it, but we're encouraging men to step up as much as possible. So thank you for coming through. Make sure you buy enough lotion. She said, y'all gonna be lonely stroking it for quite some time.
Not realizing that that we good up here. We got good healthy relationships and everything. But it always be the trolls over there at the lounge that want to talk their nose. But it's
Yeah,
all right.
man. And anytime you want me to come over, I was doing more hosting and chatting today, but anytime you want me to come over your platform, more than welcome to come on by, man, and have some conversation. At the end of the day, we want men to just develop in a healthy way. We're not saying don't date women, don't deal with them. Honestly, I don't have any problems dating women. I'm in a pretty healthy dynamic right now. So, it's important though that men do develop themselves as best as possible and understand what we're dealing with. It's not the same as our parents. It's not even the same as what we may have experienced when we were younger. It's a different ballgame out here, and men have to be able to navigate these waters because women are doing the same thing. So there we have it. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to drop you guys down and close out the show. Thank you again for coming on by and sharing your platforms. Crack. I'll talk to you gentlemen later. Yeah, you know what it is, Crack. Shout out to Tina. Tina, I hope you feel better soon. I know you're watching. Salute to her. But yeah, thank you, Urban, for opening up your audience to me, man. I'm a way smaller YouTuber than him. So him even giving his time here is important. For the folks, this is your first time introducing yourselves or coming on over, please subscribe, tap into the content, share your perspectives. All perspectives are welcome over here. We want to just have good dialogue and help build as much as we can. And as I always say, I want people to be safe, be constructive, and be better. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care of yourselves. Peace.
You're tuned to the Universal Jones Show, where wisdom meets work and faith rewrites the code. Yeah. Mic on, real life, yeah, we talk that, on that. Storms pass quicker when the soul gets a roadmap. Scars on the mirror, but the light still shows. Ancient word in my chest, that's the spark that grows. From the block to the boardroom, pain's got a name. We don't run from the fire, we refine the flame. Truth cuts noise like a sword through stone. Turn it up, lean in, this is Universal Jones. Faith over fear when the nights get long. Grace in the room and the weak get strong. We fall, stand tall, then we pass it on. Healing ain't a solo, it's a family song. Turn it up, find your zone. Universal Jones. Heart to the hurt, light to the unknown. We heal, we learn, we grow. Be safe, be constructive, be better. Let's go. Hands up, claim your home. Universal Jones. Truth in the tone, courage in the bones. We rise, we build, we grow. Be safe, be constructive, be better. Let's go. Call in, check in, it's a lifeline live. From the grief to the grind, we reclaim our drive. Mind like a mission, goals in the sight. Reprogram the picture to the page, reads right. Head up, chin set, God at the helm. Character is currency, we rich in the realm. Love is the language, discipline the code. Community the compass when you're on that road. When the weight says quit, we refuse, we choose. If the mirror crack, let the make a fuse. Hope in the heat, peace in the pressure. Step by step, we build something better. Turn it up, find your zone. Universal Jones. Heart to the hurt, light to the unknown. We heal, we learn, we grow. Be safe, be constructive, be better. Let's go. Hands up, claim your home. Universal Jones. Truth in the tone, courage in the bones. We rise, we build, we grow. Be safe, be constructive, be better. Let's go. Be safe, be constructive.
Welcome to my dad's podcast. He's awesome.